What is up, DTube Hexicans? So today I want to talk about, well, around a week ago I talked a little bit about this, that it seems like we would get some big announcement about Hex in 7 days, and it seems like the announcement was that we now have the .com domain name. So hex.com now goes to Hex, same as go.hex.com goes to the staking page. In the past, it basically was hex.win, and I still think hex.win is gonna work, but it's just now that it also redirects to hex.com. Now, why is this awesome? Well, because it's just a better brand. Hex.com is a better brand. More people like that TLD, I think it's called TLD, those domain name endings. More people look at .com as authority, and a three-letter word that Hex is plus .com, that's pretty badass. And it seems like this may even become the ticker symbol, which is quite original, because it may make so the ticker symbol has a different shape than other ticker symbols, because every other ticker symbol is rounded. This one, is that like it would be like a rectangle or something like that. Now, these websites may not like that, because they want everything to be the same. But as Steve Jobs said, or this Macintosh ad said, think different, you know? So it's cool if you can have a ticker symbol with hex.com brand inside of it, because people are gonna pay attention then. They're gonna see, whoa, wait a sec, what is that? That kind of stands out. I wanna go to that website and see what happens on hex.com. It's just smarter. Yeah, it's just smarter, because basically what we want to do with Hex, you want it you want it to be super easy and super quick to be able to access Hex and to purchase Hex quick. And if you have an awesome domain name, so we've seen on these UK ads, yeah, all across the UK, on buses and on taxis, on Premier League games, they usually have a website address where you can go. Now you can have this hex.com address, and it just looks better. It looks more classy, it looks more professional, it looks more high status. And probably more people are going to start paying attention then if they see, whoa, wait a sec, .com? That sounds pretty authority. Facebook.com, YouTube.com, Twitter.com. Everyone is using the .com. It's the one that most people are aware of. So hex.com, I could not imagine, like, that was so genius when I saw it, because I would have never came up with that idea. I mean, that is so genius in terms of branding wise. And I really hope that it may become the ticker symbol, because it looks actually good. It looks super clean. It looks innovative. Big thing, like a lot of these other nonsense, so-called cryptos that are just like stupid clones of Bitcoin, or stupid clones like stupid fake ETH clones. I don't know, these wannabe Ethereum chains and all of this. Go look at their logos and compare it to if the ticker symbol would be hex.com. Hex.com at least looks better and probably looks more cool. Domain names probably matters a lot, especially in a case such as Hex that is mainly virtual. And I talked a little bit about this aspect in the past, that probably where Hex can have the most amount of success may not even be so much in the physical world, but maybe in the virtual world, because it's easier to pay people. It's easier to have videos being produced. It's easier, yeah, it's just easier to have like virtual marketing. And the cool thing is, of course, with virtual marketing also, when you have a web-based product that Hex is, the cool thing with the virtual is really people pay a lot of attention. So I go to my stats on my YouTube videos, average watch time many times above 10 minutes. That is a lot of engaged people that that really care and that want to be part of something bigger. So I look at my older videos now where I used to have the Hex logo and it doesn't have the ticker symbol. It's not hex.com, and yes, this actually looks, I think it's gonna look actually better, and I also think it's gonna raise a lot more eyebrows because I mean, so we after this announcement we had this, and I think this was the announcement basically. So after this happened, we had a nice pump today. I almost think that we made a new all-time high today. So we are almost at 0.00619 right now, or we actually are at 0.00619, and we were up to 6.4 even today. 19 in ETH and 55 in BTC. Cool. Ethereum or Bitcoin is also up a little bit, $11,200, but I think it's just the BitMEX, Arthur Hayes, they're kind of pumping it, Scrooge McDuck style. That he wrote a little bit on Twitter about that thing. But yeah, I mean, Hex up again, 688%, almost 7% the last 24 hours. Probably a lot now today, mainly because of Hex.com, that kind of branding up, the new branding opportunity we have now here. Because yeah, I mean, it's just like some things are cool, and .com is cool, and 3 letters on a .com is usually, most of the times, it's almost impossible to get unless you pay a lot of money. So that looks pretty high status, to be honest. So with the pump in Hex today, circulating supply, the market cap of that is $1.65 billion, almost $1.7 billion, getting close to $2 billion. And when we're close to $2 billion, we are getting closer and closer to being a top 10 cryptocurrency, because there's so many coins between $2 billion and $3 billion, and there's a lot of nonsense up there that probably is horrible products that are so much worse than Hex. So I think that Hex easily, very quickly can reach $3 billion market cap, and it's really going to start to, I think, raise eyebrows then, because it's gonna eventually then be a top 5 crypto, and that's another powerful brand. And so if you have the .com, hex.com, and you have like a top 5 crypto, and then maybe if you can margin trade Hex in the future, and maybe if you have cool Hexcan influencers, for example, we have Hexo doing amazing work, we have Good Texture doing amazing work, and a bunch of other people doing extremely good videos, extremely detailed and so on. If you have all this combined, the domain name, the margin trading for people that want that long or short it 100x maybe on chain, and you have the .com domain name, and you have a top crypto, and maybe eventually, I mean, I saw Cointelegraph, they wrote a new article about Hex, kind of cool. And maybe if you eventually get these bigger companies in crypto to stop gatekeeping Hex, maybe CoinGecko will stop it eventually, and maybe CoinMarketCap eventually will stop doing that. You have so many cool things going on that then it's like, then it's I mean, we already know, like the internal Hex community already know that we're sitting on something gold here. And what I mean with gold is not just a smart contract, but I mean as the community, and how educated they are, and the gold is basically the social crypto brand that Hexagons has, and that they have worked for and earned for, something that other crypto communities in general, most of the times, they haven't really worked that hard to reach that sort of level. So yeah, and also if you combine it with, oh, we also have amazing memes also, it's just like a lot of good things going on, right? And there is no other projects that is kind of close to it. We had thoughts before Hex launched that maybe we will see super many copycats coming out super fast that are gonna try to compete. Now we saw some kind of clones, but none of them even came close to even be worthy of being called a clone, because they don't even have the share price and they don't even put in any work. And what is kind of interesting about all of this is, I mean, I thought there would be way more people paying attention, especially when they saw the share price. I would think it would be way more competitive to get shares, to get coins, and I also thought that, I mean, sure, we have an average stake length of maybe 5 years, but we see that there's so many people that are ending early, like in just around the big payday, or 2021, or 2022, or 2023, and there's almost no people that are staking beyond 2025, which is super strange to me because Ethereum is 5 years old, and has it really done anything amazing in has it really done anything amazing in 5 years? Not really. I mean, it hasn't done anything interesting. And it's like 5 years are probably gonna fly by pretty fast. And will we have made much more progress in 5 years from now? Who knows? But all I'm saying is, like, 5 years goes by pretty fast, and it's gonna be really, really hard to get shares in the future, especially when the share price goes up. I mean, sure, you can still get it, but it's gonna be so high. Like, the share price is gonna be so high in the future that it's gonna be really. I don't. People that have a lot of stakes and like ending a lot of stakes, I think they're gonna regret a lot of that they didn't just do one big long stake or something like that, because yeah. So the lock rate is down to 16% now, also 16.93%, which is pretty epic too, because the API is going up again, which is pretty cool. I think it kind of prepares more people again for. They're kind of starting to realize that abundance is kind of real, and that, well, if you use playing with numbers now, as I talked about a little bit, or actually talked a lot about it in the past, if we use playing with numbers, this computing power decade, it's all about the game theory, and it's all about the brand. Who can build the best brand? How amazing can we make the Hex brand? How many people can we get involved? How can we scale it? And I'm really, really thankful for that we now have so competent people, that we now have the .com domain name. I did not expect that at all. I have zero expectations. The project, it's a complete smart contract, and the community has zero expectations because there are no expectations. Yeah, there's just no expectations. If you want something amazing to happen, you have to put in the work yourself, because there is no entrepreneurial effort from other people. That's kind of cool. As people talked about in videos, vlogs, Hex videos, that also makes the project even more interesting to kind of follow, because it kind of makes people staying more engaged. I think a lot of people, for example, love to see when a day is ending and kind of when the share price goes up. Now the share price, some days nothing is changing, or the share rate, nothing is changing for a couple of days, but usually then you get one big day instead. So if it's just like it, because then it kind of builds up, because it basically looks at how many days someone has staked and when they're end staking. So if nobody's ending any stakes for long periods of time, it just keeps adding up, and then people get a bigger ROI, and then it basically adjusts the share rate and sets it to the highest ROI the system has ever seen. And then the new guys getting in, they obviously get diluted. They get less shares compared to the early guys that is getting most of the rewards, because the hex shares are the most scarce thing in the hex Ethereum smart contract. So so this is very cool. It's very cool also how we can get these insane pumps in price. I mean, how much has it gone up? How much did it go up in a couple of days? I mean, it went up a lot. I think it has gone up at least the last 30 days. It's above 100%. So, and it kind of looks like the gold chart, but the gold chart in maybe 30 years, and it seems like we're busy doing that thing in Hex, but just a couple of months. Just a couple of months. But it looks very identical to the gold chart, because the gold chart is like breaking new all-time highs. But the last all-time high was like 2011, and our last all-time high was just May. I actually think we broke all-time high today, but we have to. I want to get more confirmation. Then we need to go a little bit higher up than 6.4. I want to see 6.5 or 6.6. Then I can like 100% say that, yeah, we have a new all-time high in Hex, and that may happen even before August begins. But let's see, how many days are left of July? 2 more days. Okay, so maybe, yeah, it is very interesting. We may see an all-time high of Hex, a new all-time high here in July, before July ends. We didn't get an all-time high in June. We got one in May, and we broke new records in April. It's gonna be interesting. 2 more days. We're gonna see, like, if we break an all-time high here. If we don't do it over here, we're probably gonna do it in August. I mean, it seems kind of likely, because the Bitcoin price is so high now, and it seems like the Tether thing want to print to infinity, and it seems like it's gonna go on for a couple of months at least, and it seems like this is kind of just the beginning of it. So it seems like August is going to be an interesting month to kind of follow the Hex community, the Hex scans, the Hex smart contract, and see how it performs, and see what the price does on Uniswap. It's really great how we got the Uniswap V2, added more liquidity, or we got more liquidity over there in the last couple of days. So I even think that we may even see now, starting to see more volume on Uniswap V2 than even V1. So it seems like most people are starting to move to the newer version of Uniswap. It's going to be exciting also. In a couple of days we get some testnet of Ethereum 2.0, and we know that if ETH keeps going up also many times, we may see Hex also go up, because they bonded together in many ways. So ETH USD is only $322 now. It was up to $330 a couple of days ago, and we may see, I mean, for me personally, it seems like we're going to like $400 or $500 maybe in August, and that can be extremely exciting, because I want to see how the Hex price is doing. Then most of the times, if Hex goes, or if ETH goes up very, very rapid, most of the times Hex is losing against ETH, the ETH price, but then a few days later it seems to gain in ETH price. So it's going to be interesting to see if it does the same, if it goes up, if we would see like a massive rally of Ethereum. Who knows? And people are talking about in DeFi with the gas prices of ETH that it's very expensive to do a transaction. And yes, it costs a couple of bucks now. It costs a couple of dollars. But that's why Hex is pretty amazing, because in Hex you're doing one stake, and then you don't have to do any more transactions for many years if you're staking for long, and then you're probably pretty good to go. While a lot of this other kind of nonsense DeFi on Ethereum, you have to do many transactions all the time. And then you really got to ask yourself, isn't this supposed to be about hold? Isn't hold what creates the most value? Like if you go look back in history, probably it is. Probably it is. I was looking at Bitcoin wallets, some that bought Bitcoin in 2011 and 2013. And there's some big wallets there that they basically didn't move their coin or haven't even moved their coin in like 10 years. So hold is something that a lot of people are doing. And then it's like the gas prices shouldn't really matter that much if you're just holding. Maybe if you're buying in daily, yeah, it is a little bit annoying if you have high gas prices. But in terms of the hold aspect, it shouldn't really be that big of a concern. For example, with HEX, yeah, the smart contract like calculates daily like what more coins you have earned, but you only get all of that added when you're ending the stake. So you don't have this you don't have this so much worry about the gas prices, which obviously is pretty cool. So that is basically what I wanted to talk a little bit about today. Very nice that we now have hex.com and that we can finally use that in marketing, and we don't have to use hex.win anymore, even though I kind of like that kind of win aspect about that domain name. But I think we can use both. I think you can use both, and I'm not sure if the old one is gonna keep working, but probably it will keep on working. Who knows? But but the hex.com one is really cool, because a lot of people are gonna look at that as an authority thing, and even if they're not that interested in Hex, if they see hex.com, they're probably eventually going to go there to see kind of what's up, because humans are very curious, and if they get exposed to something many times, probably eventually they're just gonna visit it, because maybe out of sheer annoyance, and then maybe they get kind of hooked into it when they kind of see, wow, this is actually the best project there is in the cryptocurrency industry, and maybe I should have paid attention much earlier. If you look at the Bitcoin community, there's not that many vloggers or influencers, because most of the times it's a very boring space. Like there is not that many super cool people. They're like engaged daily, but in Hex it's kind of different, especially in the a launch phase period of this project. So yeah, that is what I want to talk a little bit about today. Have a great day, YouTube.